Membership communities can be a great way to give your audience access to your premium content at an affordable monthly cost. But when it comes to setting up a successful subscription-based community with high member retention, there's a lot to think about before diving in headfirst. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through everything you'll want to consider when deciding if a membership community is right for your creator business. If you're new here, I'm a full-time fashion and beauty micro-influencer, and I use this channel to help you create great content, grow your digital brand, and earn sustainable income from content creation. So if any of that interests you, please consider subscribing. I launched a Patreon membership back in January of 2022, and I have had a lot of fun with it. So in today's video, I'm going to help you identify whether or not a membership community is right for you, help you brainstorm content for it, and figure out where to host your membership and what to charge. One important distinction I want to make clear is the difference between monetizing your content and monetizing your audience. When you monetize your content, that means that you are making money based off of your content, whether you're working with a brand, placing ads on your content, or creating content containing affiliate links. However, when you monetize your audience, that means you're making money directly from your community, who may buy your digital products, attend events that you host, and of course, join your membership community. If you have not yet monetized your audience, meaning you have not yet sold products, hosted events, or started a membership community, I recommend doing a quick poll to gauge their interest in something like that. I actually always poll my audience through my email newsletter at the end of every year, and last year's end of year poll revealed to me what my audience wanted, and I realized that the solution I could provide to them was actually a membership community. They were looking for more creator resources, but at an affordable price, and they wanted consistent and ongoing support. So those things added up together to create my current Patreon membership. Running this quick poll will validate that your community is willing to spend their own money on your products, services, or memberships. So I highly recommend doing this step if you haven't already. After polling your audience, there are also two questions that I recommend you ask yourself. The first question I recommend asking yourself is if you have a specific vision for the membership, meaning you know exactly which members of your audience would be interested in joining and what you'd offer inside. And the second question, and this is a big one, is do you have the bandwidth for this? We'll come back to bandwidth a little later in this video, but let's focus right now on what content you can provide in your membership to help you solidify the specific vision you have for this community. Let's now go through and discuss a few different content ideas for your membership community. There are things you can do like live events, pre-recorded video tutorials, sharing early access to content before the rest of the world sees it, or sharing exclusive behind-the-scenes footage with your membership community. Access to private community channels where your community members can talk to one another, like a Discord platform or a Facebook group. Tangible resources like checklists, downloadables, and other templates, Q&A sessions, mentorships, and group coaching, and even monthly challenges for your community members to participate in. Now, one thing to note about this content is, in general, when we talk about a membership community, when someone is paying for something, they want access to something that you're not just giving away for free. Really, the only exception from the list I just mentioned would be if within your membership community, you share that you will be sharing early access to your content. So maybe people who pay for your membership get access to your content a week or two before everybody else sees it. So I do think it's important to outline clearly in the parameters of your membership if the content is exclusive and you're not sharing it anywhere else so that they understand what they're paying for. If you're still struggling to come up with some premium content ideas, when in doubt, go back to your content pillars that you use in your regular content creation. And if you're not familiar with content pillars, a content pillar is basically a subcategory of your personal brand that you create content around. So my content pillars, for example, are fashion, beauty, content creation tips, and life in New York City. This YouTube channel focuses specifically on the content creator tips content pillar. If you want a little bit more of an in-depth explainer about content pillars, if you don't yet have those established, you can grab my free guide, The Influencer Launchpad, from the link down below in the description box to learn more about that. Let's move on and talk about where you should host your membership platform. And I'm going to be talking about 3 platforms in particular. The 3 platforms that I'm going to discuss are Patreon. Patreon is where I host my membership community and where people have to pay for content. There is no free option on Patreon. And the other two options are Instagram subscriptions and YouTube memberships. I do find it interesting that social media platforms have started to introduce membership models. Traditionally, content on social media has been free for people to consume, so the idea of paying for content on a platform where you get a lot of content for free might be hard to communicate to your audience. Then again, if you have a thriving and existing and engaged community on one of those platforms, it could be a much easier way to start to make money off of your audience and level up your content within a platform that you've already built up. Something to consider with hosting your membership on Instagram or YouTube is that you will have to more than likely show up in real time and consistently show up to deliver the content. So for example, on Instagram, you can host subscriber-only lives, you can post subscriber-only stories, and subscribers will also get a comment badge so that when they leave comments on your posts, people can see that they are a supporter of yours. If you are hosting your membership community on a platform like Instagram or YouTube, keep in mind it will likely require you to create a lot of video content. So obviously for YouTube, if you're posting pre-recorded or doing lives just for your membership community, that will take time for you to record and show up to do. Same thing with Instagram. If you promise to post a certain amount of subscriber exclusive Instagram stories or go live to your subscribers X number of times per month, that does require you to actively show up and create that content. Now, a few of the reasons that I love Patreon are that number one, I can actually schedule content. So last year, at the end of the year, when I realized I wanted to create this membership community, I actually created resources for the entirety of 2022 in 1 week, and I scheduled them to go live on the first of every month. I love that I can show up consistently, even though my brain does not have to remember, oh, it's September 30th, October 1st, I need to post this thing first thing tomorrow in Patreon. Now, I chose to host my membership community on Patreon, and that's because I'd like to primarily keep my content here on YouTube and Instagram free, with the exception of you watching an occasional ad here on YouTube and me taking on branded content partnerships over on Instagram. However, within my Patreon membership community, again, that is a paid subscription, even if it's just $1 a month, which is currently my lowest tier option for people. And I'm able to give them more tangible resources, which I really like. So within my Patreon community, members can get access to digital downloads like monthly desktop wallpapers, a fresh list of content ideas at the top of the month, private tutorial videos that I don't share anywhere else, as well as downloadable resources like checklists, Google spreadsheets, and so much more. I understand this will be a personal decision for a lot of creators, so if you are mulling it over or you think you have a strong preference of one platform where you're interested in starting a membership community, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you're thinking, or feel free to ask a question and crowdsource with this community to figure out which platform may be best for you. One thing to keep in mind with memberships, and I think we should cover this before we get into pricing your membership, is that not all of the revenue from your membership goes directly in your pocket. So with Patreon, you have a few different plan options to choose from. You can choose plans where Patreon takes either 5, 8, or 12% of your monthly earnings, basically for letting you use their platform to host content and for them handling all of the payment processing. I'm currently on the Pro plan where they take 8% of my monthly earnings. I chose Pro over Lite because I wanted to be able to include a few different tiers of my membership for different dollar amounts. Now for Instagram, they actually take a 0% revenue share from your membership. However, there is a 30% deduction of your membership fees that go through Apple and the Apple Store for hosting and processing the payments for your membership. And YouTube actually takes a 30% revenue share of your membership as well. There's no Apple or middleman with YouTube and a viewer, so YouTube gets that 30% cut. So that's something to think about. Obviously, setting up a Patreon community and starting on a new platform is a little bit more work. However, like I mentioned, for me, that is the platform that suits my community best and allows me to provide consistent support and resources to my audience without me needing to actively be there every single time there's a new upload. Now, once you've figured out the content and which platform you want to host on, here comes the big question, as always, which is what should you charge for your membership? Pricing is always a little bit difficult for influencers to figure out, but when it comes to a membership community, the big thing to keep in mind is that this is going to be a recurring revenue stream. So it's not necessarily about pricing something the way you would price a digital product or a one-on-one consulting session with you. You'll want to think about whether or not you want your membership to be a super low-cost, affordable, and widespread option to accommodate a large portion of your audience if they're interested, or whether you want a higher-priced, more intimate experience with a limited number of people who are eligible to join your membership. For me personally, my Patreon community is one of 8 revenue streams, so it is an additional, supplemental, fun add-on to the other ways that I make money in my business, and for that reason, I've kept it pretty low cost. However, if you're planning on a membership being one of your primary sources of income, you'll probably want to charge more. Consider the value and scope of work of what you need to do each month to provide the value that you've promised to your audience. And like I was talking about earlier with bandwidth, you'll want to consider what you can actively maintain and that you can commit to doing each and every single month. Having a membership is not just doing a one and done Instagram live. It's continuing to show up and add value, add support, add resources to your community members who are paying for you to do so. If you anticipate spending 10 or more hours a week on your membership community, you'll definitely want to price it accordingly, because from that, I would assume that this is going to become a primary source of income for you. If you have the option, I don't think you have the option on Instagram right now to do tiered pricing and offer multiple different options of your membership, but that could be a good way to test and experiment and see what people are willing to pay for and which tiers and which pieces of content that you're offering within each tier people find most interesting and most exciting. As I mentioned earlier in this video, what I did when I launched my membership community in January was during the last week of December in 2021, I batch created all of the content for tiers 1 and 3 that I pre-scheduled throughout the year. So I am scheduled out through the end of this year, December 2022, for my membership community in those 2 tier levels. The $5 a month tier is my most expensive tier, and that is where I actually spend time each month filming video tutorials and creating resources based on what's going on in my own business to share with my membership community, because I know that's what they are paying for and what they're most interested in. So since I schedule everything else in advance, all that's left for me to do each month is to create 1 tutorial video and 1 resource for my membership community. And I would say that that currently takes me less than 3 hours a month to do. When I look back at the data, I was actually surprised to learn that the $5 a month tier in my Patreon is the most popular option when people join. I didn't think people would go for the most expensive option, but it's still cost-effective enough, and I'm delivering a ton of value for $5 a month that my community thinks it's worth it. If all goes well, I may consider expanding and adding additional tiers with more resources in the future, but I'm so glad that I started small and did this test round of my Patreon membership community, because it's just taught me that I can show up consistently and create these resources if I plan ahead and communicate exactly what my audience can expect to those members who choose to join. If you're interested in seeing the inner workings of a membership community that already exists, you can hop into my Patreon membership community. Like I said, I do try to keep it pretty cost effective, and if you're a content creator, I do think you'll find value in it, from the monthly challenges to the content ideas to the tutorial videos and additional resources. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel for new videos every Tuesday, and check out the up next recommendations on the screen for more content from me. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.